Sam Pardee against Brian Weller Gordon, who I remember playing against in the Northwest. He's playing Rakdos Transmogrify, as both players are really into both Jingantha and Blackcliff Cleaves. Or excuse me, Blackcleaf Cliffs. Alrighty, so for Weller Gordon, we're going to start things off with. Is that a case? Sam has a vampire.
Yeah. Blood Tithe Harvester. As honest as they come.
Pretty honest threat, if I'm being honest. It'll be a duress here from Brian. And we're going to take a look here. What is old Pardee cooking with? We got a Fable, a Push, 2 Deadly Disputes, and a Blood Crypt. So Weller Gordon's going to get that information taken care of. As we get a deeper look here into Brian's deck list, you might be wondering exactly what is going to come from a Transmogrify, and it will be a Traxa.
Yes.
It will be a Traxa. No surprise there. And now the follow-up is a Push to take care of the Blood Tithe Harvester. A Blood Crypt on the battlefield tap. We're going to head back Pardee's way, who is now without a Fable, but does have a Deadly Dispute. So, goodbye Blood Token. Hello Treasure Token. 2 cards coming. Pardee also top-8'd Pro Tour Murders at Karlov Manor in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
He's been on one, as they say, in 2024.
Magic Online Worlds or something a few years
Probably,
back.
yeah, probably. Probably. Strixhaven champion, if memory serves. He wins a lot, okay?
Yeah.
He wins a lot. And so does his favorite football team, the San Francisco 49ers, who are going to demolish the Cardinals this weekend. And Brian looks like he's going to be doing some Case of the Stash Skeleton. That's a fun name.
Yes, it is. Works in a bunch of different ways with this deck. You know, getting a token, that's nice. Being able to tutor, that's nice.
Yeah, tutor's fun.
Yes.
Find yourself your Transmogrify?
That's right.
Yeah, that's smart. Okay. It looks like old Bank Buster.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we got all the hits coming out here early in the day.
Another, you know, you draw some cards, you sit around, you don't do anything. Eventually you get a pilot. That becomes an Atraxa.
Absolutely.
You know?
Sam has a new addition here to Jun's Sacrificed. Yagra? You want to go with Yagra?
I have said Yigra, but
Yigra?
it's whatever. Yagra's fine.
Eater of All. Those are the easier words to say.
Yeah.
Combo with 2 cats. We'll see if that comes up.
It's also very, very hard for creatureless decks to kill.
Yes. Let's see what Weller Gordon has here. This is another copy of Duress. Sam has a Claim the Firstborn, Deadly Disputes, and 2 Fatal Pushes.
So the instant speed removal is useful in this matchup. Can break some stuff up. But this is a lot of time that Sam is currently giving Brian here.
There'll be a Blood Crypt tap there from Weller Gordon. We're going to pass it back over to Pardee. I guess the cat's big on its own.
Oh,
There's also that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Combo enabler, but also just huge. Let's see what the follow-up is here for Sam. Oh, is that a Haunted Witness? I might be wrong about that. Hang tight.
Unlucky Witness.
Unlucky Witness, thank you. Bankbuster going to draw another card.
That is the Fountain Port. Another way to potentially, you know, finagle in
Wow.
an Atraxa.
Brian has 4 copies of that card this weekend. That's a lot of those.
Yeah.
I mean, it is pretty good.
It does a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. No, that's legit. Unlucky Witness is going to get sacrificed to a Deadly Dispute, so.
Yeah. So Sam right now is basically trying to set up a spot where he could generate lethal in one turn here, which is possible if he could find, maybe something like Oven Cat plus Devil could potentially get over the line. I believe that Brian's at 12 right now from that previous hit, which means that if Sam can basically find 2 more pieces of food, that would do it.
Here's a Claim the Firstborn. So this is fun, because Claim the Firstborn, a lot of the time you think about only targeting their stuff, but you can target your own and give your creature haste, so it looks like Brian is going to be using a Torch to the tower. All right.
But it's not the end of the world. Oh, no, sorry. That does cut off, actually, because of the exile.
Yeah. Now here comes the Big O.
And Brian not able to find an answer there, and that's going to do it.
Sam is going to win game number 1 here over Brian as Jun's Sacrifice. Very quickly up a game over Rakdos Transmogrify, as Transmogrify didn't really get much going.
Well, Sam was still able to set up a spot there where he had Fatal Push for coverage against any sort of, polymorph style effect. And with Brian not committing any creatures to the battlefield, that Yegro was basically unkillable.
Yeah, pretty much.
And, any interaction that Brian has for anything else is just growing it. So Sam kept his eye on the ball there, realized it was unlikely that Brian could both generate the combo and stop Sam from killing over the course of 2 turns, and Sam was correct.
Let's go to the sideboards here, and we'll get our eyes on things. Let's start with Brian Weller-Gordon, as he's going to be on the play here for game number 2. It'll be 3 Leyline of the Void, 2 Duress, 2 Hidetsugu Consumes All, 2 Obnixilis the Adversary, 2 Urabrass Forge. You cast that one?
A little. I tried some of it. I tried it in the Rakdos deck. It was okay.
1 Damp Sphere, 1 Reckoner Bank Buster. What do we like here and why?
I mean, it does seem like a Leyline of the Void matchup. The Sam's deck is operating largely out of the graveyard. Beyond that, I really just don't know how much Brian can cut out of the core engine here. This might be the type of deck that can only sideboard 3, 4, 5 cards anyway, but it does seem like a Leyline of the Void matchup.
Sam's side, 4 Obnixilis the Adversary, 4 Thoughtseize, 2 Damp Sphere, 2 Haywire Mites. Let me check Sam. Okay, a couple Overgrown Tombs to activate that thing. Claim the Firstborn, the Big O, Jingantha, and then an Unlicensed Hearse.
There's a lot of just kind of marginal cards here. I think Obnixilis is probably the best of the bunch. If you anticipate Leyline of the Void on the other side, it's just something that has a lot of lift if Sam doesn't have access to his graveyard. You can sort of always vaguely justify Thoughtseize. It doesn't seem like a great matchup to me. A lot of this is just going to be a function of how much does Sam want to get away from things that are predicated on the graveyard in the face of Leyline of the Void. If he wants to kind of bail, then you could actually see him sideboard quite a few cards. If he's willing to risk it, then we might just see Obnixilis.
Alrighty, both these players have had the opportunity to do some sideboarding and take a look at each other's deck lists, so we are going to very quickly go over the StarCityGames.com newsletter, which, Patrick, you can sign up for. I can too.
Yeah. Well, I'm already signed up.
Okay.
In any event, you can sign up on the main page or just head over to StarCityGames.com/newsletter. A lot of information comes out there. If you happen to not get to the website or feel like you missed some significant bit of news, it's always good to be signed up and have that delivered directly to your email. Included in the newsletter right now, you can order cards from Dustmourne House of Horror.
Spooky.
Information, including registration for SCG Con Atlanta, January 3rd for the 5th. And anytime SCG has a flash sale, you want to know about it. It's a flash sale. Things go on sale, but not for that much time.
That's how they work.
It's nice to get a notification about that. Again, you can head over to the Star City Games main page to sign up or head over to StarCityGames.com/newsletter.
Like that.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of time on the flash
So
sale.
it's a flash sale. That's why it's supposed to be motivating. Because it isn't around for very long.
All right, it's true. It's true. You got to be quick. like that first game was between Sam and Brian. Sam, who, again, we know quite well because we both live in the Denver area, and who's having a heck of a year here in 2024, he does enjoy a good sacrifice strategy in Pioneer. This is a thing he's been doing for a little while. I know there was a fun conversation between him and Matt on if this is a combo deck or not. We don't have to work into that. I know you stated your case with the two of those bozos. But here's what I will say about Sacrifice. Good deck.
Very strong.
Good deck, yeah.
And I think the addition of, maybe it's Igra? Is that a possibility?
That sounds right.
Igra?
That sounds right. Bang.
Rust is coming off.
It is. It is. Card's good.
Something that the food decks have often struggled with is, what if your opponent happens to make the game about something else? Do you have a way to really go over the top, or are you just sort of just always grinding little bits of value here and there?
Mm-hmm.
And having a combo finish through the back door that isn't at odds with your fundamental game plan, it's a really nice addition to the deck. It's rough playing 3 colors when you're so sensitive to black mana and red mana untapped early on in the game. So it's not free to play the 3rd color, but I do think Igra is worth the squeeze.
I think it's worth it. You know, it's not that hard to get into the deck, in my opinion. It's a small green splash. It's nothing crazy. And the upside of the card seems pretty high. Look, we just saw a game where it attacked multiple times and got the job done pretty quickly while Brian was fumbling and stumbling around, but also just kind of having that backdoor combo doesn't seem like it costs much to do. Reminds me of how this deck in some formats used to play Corvold.
Sure.
On the splash, it's kind of doing the same thing there.
And it's nice to be able to shut the door in a format as powerful as Pioneer, because a place where this deck can struggle at times is against creature keywords. It's not great against trample. It's not great against flying.
Yep.
You do have some removal. You do have some blocking, but being able to shut the door quickly, because the spots where you aren't really doing the cat oven thing, if you don't have that going, the food doesn't really amount to much.
Yep.
It is cumbersome to be sacrificing for other things. And if your opponent is just curving out with good rate creatures that either have trample or flying or some other version of unblockable, a lot of time your engine doesn't work. And so having something that's like, hey, this is huge.
Yep.
And if you're attacking on the ground, shut that down. Even if you have a trample, it's not going to be bigger than this. And if you happen to have some cats, even if you didn't have this big oven infrastructure set up, it's still lethal on the spot.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we get to kind of see the Yigra cat oven combo, which is game over.
Yes.
Right? Or it's Yigra, cat in play, cat in the graveyard.
Yeah.
Do that, and then they die.
Right.
Because they're food tokens, and then they get to just do that whole thing.
Yeah, no oven required in the spot where it's 1 in play, 1 in the graveyard.
Yeah.
And that's also a big reason, among other reasons, that this deck has moved into Scavenger's Talon. It's basically 4 of, not disputed.
Mm-hmm.
It does synergize really, really well with everything. But it's also another, well, as you're milling yourself over once you get through level 2, and Igra is going to end up in the graveyard. Any extra cat that you flit over, that's great.
Yep.
There's stuff to do with that. And with the Chapter 3, that's often a reanimation for Igra. And so it's a very low opportunity cost way to fit that sort of combo into your deck. And all these cards are cards you could justify playing anyway, even if you didn't have access to the combo.
Sure.
Scavenger's Talon on levels 1 and 2 is like pretty strong for what the deck is doing at the core.
Yep.
Igra has spots where, like as someone who plays beatdown decks, I've lost that card not comboing out all the time. Just, yeah, it's a 12. And stuff they had laying around, they can turn into food and sacrifice. It's useful on a lot of fronts.
All right, let's head back down for game number 2 here between Brian Weller-Gordon and Sam Pardee. Rakdos Transmogrify on your left, Jund Sacrifice on your right. See if Brian can get things tied up. Oh, boy. Tied things up here with 2 of his 3 copies Leyline of the Void to start the game. Thoughtseize.
Well, I think this is an interesting indicator from Sam.
Okay.
Because you know about the ley lines. The deck lists are open. How much do you want to sideboard to just get away from things that need the graveyard to function? If you're bringing in Thoughtseize, that to me says I'm getting away just from the graveyard stuff. Because it's not like you can Thoughtseize a ley line, right? It's only working on the stuff that comes after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
And so Sam probably has a game plan that's as much as possible not relying on the graveyard.
Well, there is a Witch's Oven here for Sam and an Overgrown Tomb as well. For Brian, it's going to be an attacker for 2 with a skeleton, thanks to the case of the Stashed Skeleton. And remember that Brian does have a copy of Atraxa in hand. 2 in the main deck, 1 already in the grip as far as the Transmogrifies are concerned. Next up will be the incredibly powerful Fable the Mirror Breaker.
Yep. And a great card, again, if you're just trying to get away from graveyard-predicated synergies. Because you can't get rid of all of it, right? Your deck doesn't function that way. There's too many cards. But in the spot where Brian has Leyline, good, you smooth it out by discarding all that stuff. In the spots where Brian doesn't have Leyline, then you can discard some of your more modest cards and try to set up your various combos.
Here comes the skeleton once again. Looks like Pardee is going to fall down to 14. And now it'll be a second copy of Case of the Stashed Skeleton.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to head Pardee's way. Fable's going to go up to Chapter 2. I know this is your first match getting to cast Fable.
Well,
real humdinger.
I've had people play it against me.
How's that gone for them?
Sometimes good, sometimes not so good.
Okay.
It just depends.
It's a heck of a card. I'll tell you that much. Looks like Sam's going to discard one and draw one.
Is Shock good against Fable? Really depends on other stuff.
That's true.
Hard to answer that question. Sometimes awesome, sometimes embarrassing.
Yeah, well, very, very true. Very true. Remember, these skeletons are suspected, and now a Torch the Tower. Ooh, it's not Shock, but it does beg the question: is it good right now? Maybe. We're going to see Sam sacrifice the token.
Yeah, I think the issue here is that you can't sacrifice to turn on the Case of the Skeleton because there's too many skeletons.
Yeah, skeleton flooded.
Yeah, the case is not solved.
At least not yet. It'll be a Mayhem Devil after that Goblin token is sacrificed to a Witch's Oven. So now the skeletons are going to keep coming on in. Party's going to fall down to 10. Let's see what the follow-up is here for Brian, who's got ley lines, cases, and skeletons.
It is a fun feature of Constructed the times, and it happens a lot post-board, where someone gets a draw that would not beat a draft deck.
That's true.
Here's two ley lines, and now it's 2-1 City. All right, Mayhem Devil. Everything's dead. Or maybe I'll let you keep one so you can't solve the case.
What a guy.
What a guy.
What a guy. Fable's going to transform into Reflections of Kiki-Jiki.
Sam is about to tee off.
Yeah, it's impossible. That's certainly possible. As the Blood Crypt's going to end the battlefield tapped, and Mayhem Devil's going to come into the red zone. Looks like Brian's going to fall down to 17. An uncontested Mayhem Devil against creature decks is tough to beat. And so there is the first Mayhem Devil trigger, sacrificing a food in order to bring Sam up to 13. But still has some skeletons to work through as Brian Weller-Gordon will draw a card.
I think he'll figure it out.
Bold. Here come the skeletons once again. Party's going to fall down to 9. The follow-up is a Fable. That's a real one.
I mean, it's. I don't think it's likely that Brian is actually dead, but it is closer than it looks.
Well, again, uncontested Mayhem Devil against a creature deck needs to be answered pretty quickly because Sam can take over pretty quickly. But, there are ley lines on the battlefield, so it's not. I don't think it's going to get out of control, but we'll see.
Well, we do have the reflection now with Mayhem Devil. That's all sorts of combos.
Well, here we go.
I'm not that good at math, but I can tell you it's a lot.
Sam is going to come in here for 6. Weller-Gordon's going to fall down to 11. And now, sacrifice the token to Witch's Oven. 2 triggers, take care of the Goblin token, make a food token off of the oven. There is a Blooming Marsh that earns the battlefield tapped. We're going to head back over Weller-Gordon's way again. We're going to go to Chapter 2 on the Fable. 2 cards immediately going to the graveyard. It's Atraxa and Leyline, so 2 fresh ones coming here for Brian. These skeletons, they won't stop.
No.
They can't stop.
They've been unstashed.
Yeah.
They knocked down the closet or whatever they were buried in, and they're not going to waste their chance to party.
And now it's another Fable and another Goblin token that's not going to be along for very long. see what Sam wants to do on the end step here, if anything. He's probably counting to see if he can kill right now. So let's see. It'll be a push that takes care of the Goblin token. Sam will untap.
This is just so lethal.
It's pretty close. Like 3, 6, 7, 8. It's at least
it's
10. It's 10 right now for sure, right? So 6 with the Devils puts you to 5. Sack a food token. I think this should just be lights out. Yeah, second oven. Sack that. 2 triggers puts you to 3. Make a food token. 2 triggers puts you to 1. Sack another food token. Puts you to negative fun.
Yeah. I'm happy the Skeletons got to have a good time though.
You know what? We have more proof.
Yeah.
Best combo player in Denver.
Yeah.
Right there.
Evident. 2-0.
Sam Pardee gonna win this match over Brian Weller Gordon. 2-0. Jun Sacrifice doing some comboing, taking care of Rakdos Transmogrify that didn't even get close to putting Atraxa in play.